Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody and welcome to Agree to Disagree here on the TNAM radio network. My name is Brian Engelman. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it on this very special day. What's so special about it? Well, there's some immigration news. Didn't you hear? There's a president that wants to do things. But he doesn't write the laws. He executes the laws. Or he just doesn't. Or he changes his mind. We're going to get to that in just a second, but real quick, I want you to make sure that you check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com, because on the right-hand side, there's a little logo that says TNAM Radio. That's where you can click play and listen live when we're doing our shows. And when we're doing our shows, we send out tweets, and we put Facebook messages out there. So on the right-hand side of our page, about halfway down toward the bottom, you'll also see our Facebook page. You can like our page there or do a search on your own for The New American Media. Right around that same place is our Twitter feed, so make sure that you're following us on Twitter at American_media_. That's American_media_. And finally, make sure that you go on youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia and subscribe to the channel and check out a whole bunch of our shows. Leave comments wherever you're interested. Whatever the topic is, we have, I don't know, over 500 videos, over 2,000 subscriptions, over almost 400,000 video views. Find something and join the conversation. Leave some comments. Keep it mostly civil. Now, I want to jump right into what the president is up to. President Obama, illegal immigration, good times. Let's listen to the president in his words discussing illegal immigration, because we got to understand where he's coming from before we figure out where he's going.
There are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status.
This is from July 1st, 2010.
Or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. And this could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. And it would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
Okay, well, that's interesting, because that was one way to look at things. Yeah, that was one way. Yet there's a couple other ways that you could consider this same topic. This is President Obama on February 14th of 2013.
The problem is that, I'm the President of the United States. I'm not the Emperor of the United States. My job is...
See, that's the phrase that's sticking. Emperor. I'm not Emperor. Really, you're not. Okay, well, let's continue. Listen to previous Obama before you hear the new Obama.
To execute laws that are passed. And...
because you need to have the context here. You need to have the context of exactly how this is all coming together. And I'm just trying to get you caught up to speed as much as you need to know as quickly as possible.
The problem is that, I'm the President of the United States. I'm not the Emperor of the United States. My job is to execute laws that are passed. And Congress right now has not changed what I consider to be a broken immigration system. And what that means is that we have certain obligations to enforce the laws that are in place, even if we think that in many cases the results may be tragic.
In 2012...
Okay. So, that's one way to look at it. The president has had control of the House, control of the Senate. He's had ample opportunity to go ahead and do this and pass immigration reform, pass new immigration laws if he wanted to. He didn't. And now he just got his ass handed to him. He got a shellacking, in his own words, from the 2010 midterms. I'm borrowing it for the 2014s because it was another wave election. He got shellacked. His policies got shellacked. The American people are saying, enough with you, man. Enough. We don't like your policies. We don't trust you anymore. Man, lame duck time. You are blocked. Let's have another election in 2016 and start over. But anyway, here's Obama in his own words, standing next to Mitt Romney at the debate, October 16th, 2012.
But we're also a nation of laws. So what I've said is we need to fix a broken immigration system, and I've done everything that I can on my own. What I have been able to do is to make a legal argument that I think is absolutely right, which is...
He thinks that it's absolutely right as a constitutional law scholar. This is now on Telemundo, September 17th, 2013.
That given the resources we have, we can't do everything that Congress has asked us to do. What we can do is then carve out the DREAM Act.
And the DREAM Act was this whole deal to not deport children, or what some people call anchor babies. People sneak into the country, have kids, they're not legal. Well, I guess anchor babies are slightly... Well, it's kind of in the same... You know, we're talking about different kinds of football. We're talking college football, Canadian football, NFL. It's all kind of the same thing. The DREAM Act was there. You know, this really nice-sounding way to just leave the kids alone. They didn't, through no fault of their own, you know, leave the kids alone. But, of course, the kids have families, and that's what you saw, tens of thousands of people sneaking up to get reunited with their families who have been here. This is a bigger issue than just... The only reason the immigration system is broken is because it's not being enforced. And I'll tell you what, in a post-September 11th world, you know, you just got to check IDs. You know, people, they're ticket takers at movies. You got to have a ticket to come in, you know? Anyway, President Obama continuing, Telemundo, September 17th, 2013.
Folks saying young people who have basically grown up here are Americans that we should welcome. But if we start broadening that, then essentially I would be ignoring the law in a way that I think would be very difficult to defend legally. So that's not an option.
So he's saying you can't really defend ignoring the law legally. Interesting. That's actually pretty interesting, because that's kind of exactly what he came out to say tonight. So where did this newfound power and authority come from? I don't remember new laws being passed, but here's the president again in his own words, this time March 28th, 2011.
Notion that I...
And by the way, we're almost up to where we're at today with what he had to say. We're going to play that for you in just a second here on the TNA Radio Network.
Ambiguously illegal.
The notion that I can just suspend deportations through executive order, that's just not the case, because there are laws on the books that Congress has passed. There are enough laws on the books by Congress that are very clear in terms of how we have to enforce our immigration system, that for me to simply, through executive order, ignore those congressional mandates would not conform with my appropriate role as president. I can't solve this problem by myself. We're going to have bipartisan support in order to make it happen. We're also a nation of laws. That's part of our tradition. And so the easy way out is to try to yell and pretend like I can do something by violating our laws. I can't simply ignore laws that are out there. I've got to work to make sure that they are changed. I know some here wish that I could just bypass Congress and change the law myself.
Woo, yeah, I wish you were our king.
But that's not how democracy works. See, democracy is hard, but it's right. Changing our laws means doing the hard work of changing minds and changing votes one by one. Sometimes when I talk to immigration advocates, they wish I could just bypass Congress and change the law myself.
Woo, do it.
But that's not how democracy works.
Aww.
I swore an oath to uphold the laws on the books. Now, I know some people want me to bypass Congress and change the laws on my own. Believe me, the idea of doing things on my own is very tempting. I promise you.
I wish I were a king.
Not just on immigration reform.
I mean everything. But I don't think that would be a good idea.
But that's not how our system works.
Change it. Do it on your own.
That's not how our democracy functions. That's not how our Constitution is written.
Oh, if only it was. Okay, so you know what? Yeah, that's where he was coming from. So, it just doesn't seem like this guy's studied it, and there's not much he can do. Now, here's President Obama today. Let's listen to what he has been thinking about this new plan. Not him. I mean, it's Valerie Jarrett. It's the people close to him. But, okay, fine. Him a little bit. But I'm just trying to figure out exactly who the cast of characters were that typed up what he's reading off the teleprompter here. But I digress. Here's President Obama today.
I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take.
Have you ever run into somebody where they do that? And there are actions where I have the legal authority to take. Someone that qualifies something just kind of out of left field, and you're like, you brought that up. I guess common sense tells me the opposite of what you're saying is true, because you're trying to defend yourself against an attack that hasn't happened yet. But people like that, people that, they say a lot of times you deflect what you're thinking sometimes. And that's why I'm a libertarian. I could imagine that if I were president, it would be a challenge to make sure that you constrain the things that you're doing. You can probably feel like an emperor sometimes. I could imagine that. I mean, these career politicians, the Pelosi's, the Reids. Oh, Lord. And these people think they're royalty on earth. They think they're oligarchs. Like they have some divine right to be ruling us. They don't have anything. And by the way, did you notice that they were talking about, the White House didn't request time on the major networks, so, I don't know, what does that mean? I think that's hilarious. The NBC, CBS, ABC. I just think it's hilarious because those aren't the major networks anymore. Those are dinosaurs. We are the new network. If this is on social media, then it happened. Who cares if it was on ABC or NBC or CBS? That paradigm, that dynamic, that model is gone. Just don't dust it off. The record players will always have a niche. The horse and buggy is not without its charm, but it's going to be relegated to DJs and Amish at this point. Niche markets, very good people. Was Vanilla Ice technically a DJ? I know he was a rapper. because that new show, Vanilla Ice Goes Amish, you should watch it. It's pretty cool. It's one of those home renovation shows. Vanilla Ice does some good work. It's pretty entertaining, but yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. The major networks. We're the major networks now. Get out of here. All right, here goes the president. Let him go.
As president.
Yes, as
the
president.
same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just.
More fair and more just to who? To the American workers looking for jobs, and now you want to try to flood the marketplace with millions of more people looking for jobs? Any Obamacare ramifications? Can any of these people then try to sneak onto the Obamacare rolls and get free subsidies out of your pocket? Is your pocket overflowing with money right now? Is that your biggest problem? Is you just can't figure out where to donate to next because your ends have been met so quickly in the grand scheme of things with your finances, and you're doing so well, you just want to get back to all of these people. I got into a conversation, if you will, with a gentleman. I believe this one was with Seth on the Facebook page, and we encourage all these conversations. Search us, The New American Media. I was talking about, what were we talking about? We were talking about not comprehensive immigration reform. We were talking about, how did we phrase it? Said universal. We were talking about healthcare, actually. Universal healthcare. Universal healthcare. Universal healthcare. I said, universal healthcare. All right. I said, hey, Seth, how about you open your garage door and you put up a sign at the road, maybe a neon sign with an arrow, and just have it say universal dinner. Come on in. Free food, yeah? Get you free food. How long before you'd be very angry and very broke and very tired if you were giving out universal dinner out of your own home? This is our home. This country's our home. What are the ramifications for Obamacare? Let alone the way the law was written, that Jonathan Gruber saying, he was relying on the stupidity of the American voter, which was fantastic, because that's exactly what they're doing. They completely lied about that. The stupidity of the American voter. But what are the ramifications with that? Could any of these people with deferred action, could they end up sneaking their way on to the Obamacare rolls? Who's got the money for that universal dinner? Let's let the president go.
Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel.
Sorry, I got to keep jumping in here. Build on our... Let's make sure we have the verbiage right.
We'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel.
We'll build on our progress at the border. You're trying to tell me you have progress at the border when you have tens of thousands of unaccompanied children flooding into the country and then getting shipped across to God knows where in almost every state in our country? That's not success. Success is you show your ticket to enter Disneyland. Not you have tens of thousands of people bum rush the gates and climb over the fences, and you get escorted away to It's a Small World After All. Then you're riding the Indiana Jones ride. You look over at the people next to you, none of them have the wristbands or the stamps on their hands. You're saying, why was I the idiot? Why did I pay for this? These people just snuck in. What the heck is this all about? Anyway, but to claim there's been progress on the border is garbage. Till there's a double fence, and I disagree with a lot of people on this, you just got to secure your perimeter. Give me a break. Nobody can do anything well until you secure your perimeter. I want our northern border secure. It's not just Mexico, but there aren't tens of thousands of gang-related murders on our northern border every year like there is in Mexico. Remember Mexico, that place that took Sergeant Tamarisi, Andrew Tamarisi, and wouldn't give him back for, what was that, 6 months, 8 months? These people are not very friendly to us. They're just not. That soldier, that Marine, didn't do anything. He made a wrong turn and he called it in. He's like, man, I'm trying to get out of here. I'm spun around. I just want out. There was no proof that that guy did anything wrong. So, don't tell me that there's successes on the border, things we can build on at the border. We need to build our perimeter first.
Build on our progress at the
build on our progress at the border. You gotta
border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy.
Okay, that makes sense. There are things we can do with immigration plan. Absolutely. People that are badasses and pulling their own weight and producing things and starting companies and, highly educated and they've never asked for government handouts or assistance in any way. These are people that lift the country up. They don't drag them down. Those are the people you want on your team. Absolutely. There's no reason why we shouldn't be going after the best and the brightest. But that's our choice of how we want to do this. You can let people jump in over the fence or bum rush the ticket taker. But if they're really capable, intelligent, talented people, I want them at the party. Those people need to come in. That's very different from what he's getting at here, even though he puts us at number 2.
As so many business leaders have proposed. Third, we'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. You cannot properly do that until you have stopped the flow, meaning the double fence must be built first. Build the double fence first. Then we can negotiate. It's a complicated, tall task to figure out what to do with this mess. Now, let me be clear here. If you've been listening to this program over the past 3.5 years, you're probably well aware that President Obama really has no equity built up with me in the trust department. He just doesn't. There is no equity built up in the trust department between me and President Obama. At all. IRS, NSA, VA, Benghazi, go down the list. If you like your healthcare plan, you can keep your healthcare plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Period. Yeah, my premiums are up about double. My medication coverage is gone. My dental coverage is gone. I pay children's pediatric dental. I don't have any kids, let alone any kids' teeth. Mine has doubled in the past 2 years. Lost my doctor, lost my hospital, lost my plan. In the meantime, I eventually did get my previous doctor and hospital back, but now it's double, like I said. So there is no equity built up with me in the trust department. However, I want to qualify this, and this is an important point. George Bush, in a post-9/11 world, is pushing for the same type of amnesty crap. I mean, you have people, the John McCains and the Lindsey Grahams that are going, I call them Lindsey Grahamnesty. George Bush was pushing for this stuff, and I'm sorry. If you're to believe that there are threats from, and you've seen beheadings in this country. Things have been happening here. I'm not even just talking Ebola. But everybody needs to be stopped, and you need to identify. Are you healthy? Are you carrying Ebola? Are you the member of a drug cartel? Are you a member of ISIS? Or Al-Qaeda? Etc. You get my point? You got to check everybody that comes in. Everybody. And I couldn't stand that George... after September 11th, I couldn't believe that it was easy to cross our southern border. I couldn't believe it. Just absolutely couldn't believe it. 2005. You know, by the time 2005 rolled around,
Panini starts with fresh chicken,
can't be a
tomatoes,
break.
spinach, and... who are we
Where did
kidding?
this come from?
This is what you want to see, right?
You know, I can't stand... Alright, I'm going to close this Daily Mail article here because I can't stand websites that'll start playing things in the background when I don't want them to play. But what I was saying is by the time it was 2005, I had traveled to Mexico twice. I've studied the language for 3 years. I haven't spoken enough to stay fluent. I try. I should really get back into that. You know, I love the culture, Dia de los Muertos. I live here in Southern California. I've met a lot of amazing people. I've met a lot of amazing people that are not legally here in the country. You know, I get it. Step 1, turn the water off. Step 2, deal with the flood. You know, you got to turn the water off. You know, cut the main water supply, and then let's look at what we have here. You know, because there's a way to do something that makes sense. But what they're talking about, and what George Bush was talking about, I mean, a post 9/11 world. You're telling me that you can still sneak tens of thousands of kids snuck across the border last year or this past summer. You remember that? Tens of thousands of children. You know, why did they do that? Because they knew this was coming after the Democrats got shellacked in the midterm elections. I mean, you know, people are just playing a game of chess, playing a game of Risk with us. And you know, when it's transparent and it doesn't make sense, you gotta call timeout and just say, wait up a second here. Everybody stop. Everybody stop. Something is not making sense. Something does not add up here. And that's where we find ourselves right now. That's exactly where we find ourselves right now. You know. But you can't do anything until that double fence is built. You can't do anything. Because we've been promised this before. You know, I'm talking before my time with Reagan, but it was, let's pass this bill and grant amnesty, and then we'll take care of that border. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But you didn't. Oh, because you didn't want to. Both Republicans and Democrats. You guys are damn near about the same. Let's finish up with what Obama had to say tonight.
I want to say more about this third issue because...
Oh, thank you. That's what he wanted to say about this third issue.
It generates the most passion and controversy.
I'd say all these generate passion and controversy.
Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're all...
I mean, I guess the Native Americans were always fighting other Native Americans over tribal properties, borders, boundaries. But they came here from somewhere. Everybody came from somewhere. Everybody came from somewhere.
Also a nation of laws.
Okay, nation of
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous.
Especially those who may be dangerous. Well, you broke one law, and I could get it, you know, if you're living in a horrible situation in a horrible little armpit of Mexico, and there's a whole bunch of bad stuff going on, and you gotta get out, man, I would probably do the same thing. I'd probably get my ass up here. And then try to bring the kids in. See, and that's the thing where this gets political, is that, I mean, what is it, 70, 80% of these people are going to vote Democrat? Anybody from south of the border, from Mexico or Central America, based on a whole variety of factors, 3 out of 4 of them are going to go Democrat, so this is going to be a huge uptick. See, the way I see it, and I've talked about this before, is that if there's going to be any sort of seal the border first, and then, you know, maybe we let all these people that are already in stay here, but still, you know, here's the kicker. You know, you're on high alert. If you screw up and get in a bar fight, or if you get a DUI, or, you know, heaven forbid, there's rapes and murders, and I'll tell you what, I've been seeing stories about people whose family members have been killed by illegal immigrants, if they would have just done their job and checked IDs at the door, none of these killers would have got in, and that's disgusting. That's horrible. I mean, just horrible. Horrible stuff. You know, but you know, let's say you're embezzling, or you do a breaking and entering or something, and you're lucky enough not to get shot in self-defense from the homeowner exercising their Second Amendment right for self-protection, self-defense. And then you're deported. You'll be deported. You're out. But then what? Does the family go too? You know, are we really thinking this through? What is it in Israel? If there's a Palestinian or somebody who wasn't that what just happened during this week? There was an attack where two Palestinian, I believe it was cousins or brothers, went into a synagogue and used knives and killed 3 rabbis and an American or something. No, I'm not going to make a 3 rabbis and an American walk into a bar joke, because they're dead. That's ridiculous. But the point of that is that I believe that the house that that family came from was bulldozed, blown apart, destroyed, as a warning to anyone else that wants to do this. You're not doing this. You're going to die, and you get that, but do you really want to kill your whole family? Do you want to ruin your whole family? Because there's your private shame, pal. You're going after your family if you do it. So, I mean, does the U.S. really have the stomach to deport people and then, you know, leave a mother and 4 children without a breadwinner because the breadwinner is in jail and a criminal? Not to mention, if we just legalized marijuana already, we could get rid of a ton of this gang violence. And there's no money to be made because they're selling it at 7-Eleven, so guess what? Go get a job. You want to sling drugs and bring crime on the corner? Well, it's legal. What now? You got nothing. Go. You have no client base. But I'm going to let the president finish here.
That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%. And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security.
Like those carrying Ebola, a biological weapon. You've seen the damage that one person with Ebola can cause. I mean, shouldn't the people that cross the border have some sort of waiting period? Kind of makes sense.
Felons, not families. Criminals, not children.
Felons, not families. Criminals, not children.
Felons, not families. Criminals, not children. Gang members, not a mom who's working hard to provide for her kids.
Okay, he got that wrong. These speechwriters almost had it. The alliterative qualities of that, it should be gang members, not grandmothers, because they're going with alliteration.
To our security. Felons, not families.
FF.
Criminals, not children.
CC.
Gang members,
Grandmothers.
not a mom who's working hard to provide for her
screwed
kids.
it up.
We'll prioritize, just like law enforcement does every day. But even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants in every state, of every race and nationality, still live here illegally. And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic. Anyone who suggests otherwise isn't being straight with you. It's also not who we are as Americans. After all, most of these immigrants have been here a long time. They work hard.
Hey, hold on a second here. They've been here a long time. I want to tell you about what it meant when I was a promoter. Very quick story. I don't need to draw this out. I've been a promoter in many different capacities at many different clubs with many different bands and musical acts over the past few years. Well, just say over my lifetime. And there's a particular place I used to work at in Long Beach, and I would especially, well, I guess it wasn't just the Saturday, because we'd sometimes do showcases and bring like 15 bands throughout like 10 hours or something, and just do this whole long show during the afternoon into the evening. But it would happen on the nighttime shows I would do as well. Anyway, the beginning of the show, you get that first band in there. And you're running around, you're getting the door set up, and they're getting the bar set up, and you're talking to the owner, and you're doing different things, and you're running around. And, so the band gets set up, and everything's kind of going. Maybe the doors are officially open now because they'll get there a half hour early to get set up in time in the sound check and whatnot. And then, you look in the crowd, and it's like, okay, you got your band members, and you got like 3 or 4 other people. And they're sitting down, and they're in. Well, that's all well and good, but that ain't going to fly. Let's just say it ain't going to fly for the number one reason, and we don't need to rank them or name them necessarily, but let's say a reason would be that you cannot be in a bar in the United States if you're under the age of 21. And it's a 21 and over bar, and you could potentially give us huge liabilities should you start drinking, and if we're serving underage, or if, God forbid, you leave there and something even worse happens. We need to see everybody's ID. Now, the only way to do that is to turn the lights on, grab the microphone, or speak really loud and say, "Excuse me, we need everybody to exit through this door right over here. It's the one you probably came in. We're going to walk around the side of the building. We have our bouncer there who's going to check everyone's ID. Once you are deemed to be 21 legally, we are going to allow you to go to this person working the door, and they're going to charge you the cover. If you're in the band, we put the hash mark next to your band, and we already know how many band members you have, so we give you that many amount of hash marks where you can come in, and you get your stamp or your wristband, or your smiley face, or whatever. And anyone not in the band has to show your ID and then pay the cover. That's the deal. I've had to do that many times. And that's as simple as immigration is. People like to turn this into Nazi Germany. Papers, please. Papers? Show me your papers, please. Well, you know what? Turn the lights on. Everybody go out, come back through the right way, and show your papers. Yes, show your damn ID. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's not racist. I mean, anybody just giving me that racist crap anymore. It's just, it's probably literally the most worn out, intellectually dishonest, lazy line of argument that I've encountered in my lifetime. Yeah, I mean, I've studied American history, and I've read up about the KKK. I've read up about slavery in revolutionary times. I've read up about Jim Crow laws. Jeez, I did that twice. We all know that bad things have happened in the past. In 2014, are you really seeing a lot of this stuff? Are you really? No, you're not. You can give me Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin all day. You know what? I looked at the autopsies, and I'm waiting to hear the final report, but it didn't look like he was shot in the back. If there's blood on him, according to what was leaked, and we got to check to see if it's true when the grand jury comes out with an indictment or not. According to the reports, this guy attacked a police officer in his car and was struggling for the gun. Who the heck does that? After knocking off a convenience store, throwing the worker into a display of potato chips. Almost one of those picking him up and launching him like in the WWE or something. Super high on weed. I don't know all the details, and I'm not willing to, but these assumptions. Oh, it was a white cop, and there was a black person that was killed. Do you know how many white people are killed when the blacks are the perpetrators? Do you know any of their names? I mean, I guess it's just there's not a lot of money to be made in telling that story. But let's look at the statistics on that. How many people do you think are killed by people of the opposite color? Do you think more whites are killed by blacks, or do you think more blacks are killed by whites? I'm just saying, I don't think it's it's a very lazy argument. You know, like I said, I studied Spanish for 3 years, 3.5 years, with a college class included. Traveled to Chichen Itza. You know, I went to Cancun once to party, and I went to Cancun once to go to the temple. You know, go see Chichen Itza. Temple of El Castillo. You know, study about the Mayans, study about the Incas, study about the Aztecs. I mean, I love so many people of that descent. I love the American Southwest. I loved my time in Mexico. You know, so being for a wall and checking IDs on your way in, you're racist. That is damn near insane for people to just say that. That is so lazy. And it's incorrect. It's just absolutely incorrect. You know, well, you know what? I guess LA Fitness is pretty racist too, because they require seeing your ID on your way in the door too. It's just ludicrous. You know, a fitness club needs to make sure, are you a member? 1, for liability. 2, that's how they stay in business. You know, it's very basic. It's very basic. But that's what we would do. We'd turn the lights on as the promoter. Everybody out. Everybody out. But I'm in the band. I don't care. Everybody out. Everyone's treated the same. Now everyone must show their papers again. Papers, please. Papers, please. And then everybody pays. That's business. You know, if you want to bring in a whole bunch of super high skilled, I mean, that's what Project Paperclip was after World War II. All the Nazis were brought back. Their crimes against humanity were, I wouldn't say forgiven, but they were traded for their skill set. And essentially that's how we got NASA. That's how we got up on the moon. That's how we're perhaps going interstellar, intergalactic right now. Werner von Braun. That was Project Paperclip. They brought those people over here because they were they were wicked smart. That's one way to say it. You know. But, you know, it's in a nightclub too, especially if there's an area where there have been some fights or some problems. You know, you pat everybody down, make sure nobody's packing or bringing any problems in. You know, whether you check for Ebola, whether you're trying to make sure they're not on a terror watch list, they haven't recently traveled to Yemen. You know, coming back from Somalia, coming back from Syria, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan. You know, these are red flags. Like, whoa, hold on, buddy. Why do you really want to come in here? Yeah, we're gonna pat you down. You know, I have no right to go into Mexico and try to vote on things or get free stuff from them. But this place, I mean, and we're in trouble, people. We're really in trouble. We don't have the jobs that we used to have. And we need good jobs, not crappy part-time jobs. What's the story now? They're saying that the president has now legalized or deferred action on more people than jobs he's created in the past 6 years. Whew, that's rough. Anyway, let's wrap this up here.
Often in tough, low-paying jobs.
Hang on, I forgot where the heck we were at. I'll rewind that.
After all, most of these immigrants have been here a long time.
Ah, there we go.
They work
That's where I jumped in. They've been here a long time. I don't care. Lights go on, everybody out, IDs, pay the cover, walk in. Thank you. Now let's party.
hard, often in tough, low-paying jobs. They support their families. They worship at our churches. Many of their kids are American-born or spent most of their lives here. And their hopes, dreams, and patriotism are just like ours. As my predecessor, President...
I wouldn't agree that the patriotism is the same. This whole La Raza thing and people trying to take back the southwestern states from Mexico and people, you know, I wouldn't say that everybody has pride in this country at all. So you gotta be careful there too. You get, if you want to become a citizen, you gotta take the test. You gotta mean it. You gotta learn the language, bring some skill set to the table. Like, this can't just be offered to everybody. It just can't. It just can't.
Bush once put it, they are a part of American life.
Yes, as George Bush once put it. And George Bush, of course, was not... don't tell me after 9/11 that you want to spy on all my stuff with the Patriot Act. Now with the National Defense Authorization Act. Was it Section 1021, 1022? Where I can be detained illegally, unlawfully, forever, in perpetuity, because there's a war going on, air quotes, war, for the duration of the conflict, in my own homeland, just disappeared. Don't tell me I can't bring a bottle of water on the plane. I gotta take my damn shoes off like a clown. But we can't secure a border and check IDs of every single person walking in? I don't buy it. I don't buy it from Bush. I don't buy it from Obama. And if you might have been looking for a very specific reason to not trust a single thing that comes out of this president's mouth, please let's just remember this.
If you've got health care already, then you can keep your plan if you are satisfied with it. If you like the plan you have, you can keep it. I intend to keep this promise. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. If you like your plan and your doctor, you can keep them. You'll be able to keep your health care plan. If you like your plan, you keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you like your plan, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan. You like your current insurance, you keep that insurance. Period. End of story. If you've got health insurance, you can keep it. If you have insurance that you like, then you will be able to keep that insurance. If you like your health care plan, you keep your health care plan. Nobody's going to force you to leave your health care plan. If you like your health care plan, you will keep your plan. If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan. If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan. No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan. If you like your private health insurance plan, you can keep it. If you like your private health insurance plan, you can keep your plan. Period. Nothing in this plan will require you or your employer to change the coverage of the doctor you have. If you are among the hundreds of millions of Americans who already have insurance, nothing in my plan will require you or your employer to change the coverage or the doctor you have. If you want to keep the health insurance you got, you can keep it.
By the way, let me be clear. My health plan has doubled in cost. I pay children's pediatric, but my own dental was taken away. I did lose my prescription benefits. My deductible went up. My copay, in fact, went up. Yes, and those premiums are up about 100% in the past 2 years. That was me and my goofy Obama voice, but that's what happened to me. And we'll wrap this up here. 36 times Obama lied to me, telling me I could keep my health care plan. 36 times.
If you like your plan, you can keep your plan.
Why would you trust him on a single thing? Lied about the IRS, lied about Benghazi, said it was a YouTube video. Yeah, nice one, pal. The IRS. The IRS on the American people. Because he doesn't like the politics. The IRS on us. NSA, Edward Snowden. He's blatantly violating the Fourth Amendment through the NSA. Every day. That alone is impeachable. I understand that government agencies want to know what everybody's up to. But that's also exactly why they're not allowed to do that. If you have a reasonable cause, you take that reasonable suspicion to a judge, a real judge. And the judge says, yeah, it looks like they're up to something. All right, you can get a wiretap. Sure, you can check out their browsing history. Yeah, follow them or, talk to them, whatever you got to do. Something seems wrong there. You don't just get to gather and vacuum up everybody's data. We have Fourth Amendment protections against that. Point being, why would you trust a single... This is the same guy, under his leadership at least. The VA, the veterans, Phoenix and other places. People are on waiting lists to see doctors and get operations done. But guess what? They were on fake waiting lists. Their names were on pieces of paper in the bottom cabinet of the drawer, and the list was up on top of the desk. They weren't even on a list. There were too many people. People were dying under his leadership. He's either incompetent or a pathological liar. So let's listen to a few more times. The president promised me something that was a complete lie.
If you like the insurance plan you have now, you can keep it.
If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. So if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your plan, keep your plan. If you like your current insurance, you will keep your current insurance. If you like your insurance plan...
And by the way, just wait until the employer mandate kicks in. Oh, man. You are going to see so many more problems with Obamacare in the next couple years. You're so going to see it. There's another Supreme Court challenge because the way that the law was written, very great pains were taken to make sure that most people could not understand what it was. However, here's what they did. They put a provision in the law that said roughly, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if the state does not create their own state exchange, then subsidies cannot be given, will not be given, shall not be given. Well, there's a lot of states that don't have subsidies, so if the federal government is still reimbursing those people under Obamacare, that would be illegal. Just like the Supreme Court a couple years ago took up. What'd they take up? Yeah, you guessed it. Obamacare. Saying that a mandate to purchase a product, there's no provision that says government can make you do that. Just for breathing, to become a client of the insurance agency. I'm sorry, insurance industry. But John Roberts changed his mind. A lot of people think he was blackmailed into it. I'm actually one of them. But anyway, just another thing to consider while Obama's lying about this.
You will keep it.
If you're happy with what you got, nobody's changing it. If you're one of the more than 250 million Americans who already have health insurance, you will keep your health insurance.
If you have health insurance, the only thing that changes for you is you're more secure. If you already have health care, the only thing this bill does is make sure that it's even more secure.
If you've got health insurance, you keep your own insurance.
Today, I want to speak plainly, clearly, honestly. If you are...
Once again, I want to speak honestly. Why did you say speak honestly? Do you not speak honestly normally?
Already have health care, you don't have to do anything.
And everyone who already has health insurance will keep the benefits and protections this law already has put into place. Period.
Period.
Period. End of story.
You have or had one of these plans.
Oh, I wish you could be watching this. What a cocky, condescending. I wish you could. This is the last one. Oh, I wish you could see the look on his face.
Put into place. Period.
Period.
Period. End of story.
You have or...
Period. End of story. You must be a freaking idiot to not believe me at this point. Freaking idiot. Period. You got me?
Had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law. And you really like that plan.
Period.
Yeah.
End of story.
You have...
And then this was when he got busted, and he's trying to backtrack and say, oh, this is so pathetic.
Or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law. And you really like that plan. What we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law's passed.
Bull crap, you did.
Or had one of these plans before the Affordable Care Act came into law. And you really like that plan. What we said was you could keep it if it hasn't changed since the law's passed. If you...
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe the president was just mistaken. Maybe he misspoke. You know, I don't know. I thought I had this a different way. Here's one of the main architects of Obamacare. Somebody who, you know what? I gotta play you that video. Actually, I should probably lead with this one. I like this whole putting a show together thing. Like trying to plot this out. I know that's what the professionals do. But sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it works. I want you to know who John Gruber is. He's made millions of dollars consulting the White House. The president has tried to walk back the fact that he ever knew him. Which is kind of funny. This is the smoking gun, people. This is the smoking gun. The president is trying to distance himself from this Gruber character, Jonathan Gruber. This is the smoking gun. Period. Are you freaking kidding me? Let me be clear. Period. That's all I gotta say. Wait, hold on now. Why did this video switch to something? I am telling you, this is the doggone glitchiest thing today. Anyway, let's just play it before it gets weird again. President Obama. What year was this from? Date April 5, 2006. Okay, so this is a full 2 years before President Obama becomes president.
You've already drawn some of the brightest minds.
Oh, for the love. Come on, play the clip.
You've already drawn some of the brightest minds from academia and policy circles. Many of them
Speaking at the Brookings Institute.
have stolen ideas from.
Oh, my Lord. I'm going to try this one more time. Maybe Obama.
You've already drawn some of the brightest minds from academia and policy circles. Many of them I've stolen ideas from liberally.
Wow, this is interesting. You know, like this really never happens. This never happens. Now on YouTube, I'm trying to pull this up. See, that's the problem, like doing the President Obama impressions. Not that it's even that great, but when you're doing, if you do your President Obama for too long, you see what you'll do is really take a long time getting started sometimes. So that bleeds into that bleeds into my normal conversation, and then I just feel like a nitwit, actually. Okay, so let's get Obama, Gruber, stole. Now, it's just weird because I had the video all pulled up, ready to go, and it just keeps going back to another one. It's almost like, you know, like Edward Snowden told us that there are algorithms that mess with certain people, and they lower the view counts of certain things, and they try to make other things go viral. Yeah. I mean, thank God for Edward Snowden, seriously. Now, wait a minute. This one on YouTube just... Are you kidding me? Now this one is switching. Please forgive me for just a second. You know, I'm just going to close that one out. Let's get to this. John Gruber. How close are they?
You've already drawn some of the brightest minds from academia and policy circles. Many of them I've stolen ideas from liberally. People ranging from Robert Gordon to Austin Goolsbee, John Gruber, my dear friend Jim Wallace here, who can talk, I think, who can inform what are sometimes dry policy debates with a prophetic voice.
Here, one more time.
From Robert Gordon to Austin, stolen ideas from liberally. Academia and policy circles. Many of them I've stolen ideas from liberally. People ranging from Robert Gordon to Austin Goolsbee.
Oh, for the love.
You've already drawn some of the brightest minds from...
But no, I really have no problem playing this a couple of times because this is the smoking gun. And I'm going to tell you why in just a second. If you've already connected the dots, you know where I'm headed with this. The president, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. Period. Are you freaking kidding me? You're still doubting me. Why aren't you listening to me?
Academia and policy circles. Many of them have stolen ideas from liberally. People ranging from Robert Gordon to Austin Goolsbee, John Gruber.
John Gruber. What was that guy's name again?
John Gruber.
Oh, okay. Just so we're sure.
John Gruber.
Okay, so that's John Gruber. Who is John Gruber now?
Who exactly is Gruber? What was his role in crafting Obamacare?
I don't know who he is. He didn't help write our bill.
Most people think he's one of the best outside experts.
And here, you can't see. This is so ridiculous. I'll give you the names of who's talking.
Who exactly is Gruber? What was his role in crafting Obamacare?
I don't know who he is.
Pelosi.
He didn't help write our bill.
I don't know who he is.
Most people think he's
Democrat,
one of the best
Max
outside
Baucus.
experts. Mr. Gruber of MIT.
He didn't help write our bill.
Jeez, this is going to be tricky. This is moving so fast. It's almost like I wish you could see. Then it's Democrat Congressman Max Baucus. So Pelosi's saying, I don't know who he is.
He is. He didn't help write our bill.
Most people think he's one of the best outside experts.
Max Baucus, well, he knows who he is.
Mr. Gruber of MIT.
I don't know if you have seen Jonathan Gruber of MIT's analysis. And
Okay, now Nancy Pelosi is referencing, I don't know if you've seen Jonathan Gruber from MIT's analysis. No, she knows him.
so
Jonathan Gruber is one of the most respected economists in the world.
He attended 5 of the 12 meetings at the Obama White House in 2009, including the meeting with
Lawrence
the president.
O'Donnell.
I was a paid consultant to the Obama administration to help develop the technical details of the bill.
$6 million in consulting fees on Obamacare.
$6 million. 2.05 from the National Institutes of Health, 1.737 from the Justice Department. This is a rich mother. 1.6 million from at least 4 states, 392 from Health and Human Services, 103 from the State Department. This is a loaded, connected dude.
Who knew you could make so much money working for the government, huh?
and so
The fact that some advisor
An advisor.
who never worked on our staff. I've stolen ideas from liberally. John Gruber
Obama's a little more relaxed. I think he took a cigarette break halfway through.
expressed an opinion that I completely disagree with in terms of the voters.
So that passed because the American voters are too stupid to understand the difference. Gruber talking about the health care law. Let's listen real close.
Disagree with in terms of the voters.
Call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
It was an exploitation of the basic lack of understanding from the American voter. Obamacare was nothing but fraud, and it needs a full repeal. Period. Period. What are you freaking kidding me? Should have been impeached years ago. We're not quite done with this Gruber feller.
There's no reflection on the actual process that was run.
And the only way we could take it on was first by mislabeling it. And John Kerry said, no, we're going to tax your health insurance. We're going to tax those evil insurance companies.
Gruber, who has been our guide on a lot of this.
But we all know it's really a tax on people who hold those insurance plans.
I think it's fair to say that there was not a provision in the health care law that was not extensively debated.
This bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies.
Mr. Gruber of MIT. He's got big computer models. He takes the CBO data, and frankly, in some respect, he's helped CBO by giving some information that CBO that otherwise does not have.
You had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in. It made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money. It would not have passed.
And was fully transparent.
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And over time, it's going to apply to more and more health insurance plans.
Oh, it's going to apply to more and more health insurance plans. This thing's about to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
so
How can that make sense?
Oh. You know what? That one's just... I'm going to put that out on Twitter. Here. If you're not following us, we're at American_media_. We do hashtag TNAM must watch video. Okay, so that just went out on Twitter, and if you guys are not following us, you need to do so. And now I gotta put it on Facebook. And make sure you're liking our Facebook page. Yeah, but this will be another TNAM must watch video. Okay, there you go. That's it. That's why you can't believe this guy. That's why you can't believe the president. You can't believe him on net neutrality. Let them get their hands on it. They'll screw it up. And I'm just going to say it again for anyone that wants to listen. I was at an event, a fundraising event, Democratic congressman. This was several years ago, right in the thick of the healthcare debates. I did it right there. I went, now I'm critiquing every single stutter and pause. Anyhow, I was at this fundraising event. Henry Waxman. He's the weasel that went and brought like a Micro Machine Man fast talker. And he was laughing, saying, those in Congress that say, read the bill, read the bill. He brought in a speed reader to start going through thousands of pages to make a joke about it. He was at this fundraising event. And I need everyone to understand this. I need you guys to share this message, if anything else, with everyone that you can. I mean, man, this must have been 08, 09, 10. You know what? I think it was 09 to 10, somewhere in between there. I'm probably certain of that, actually. Like late 09. And Henry Waxman said, net neutrality will be the culmination of our 100-year plan. Wow. If you could actually shut up the media that dissents with you, and it would be literally be Orwellian, where the lies are just told as facts. You know, you decrease the chocolate rations, and then you decrease them by 6, and then you raise them by 2, and the story is, hey, look how generous they are. They've increased them by 2. I mean, give me a break. Gruber, one more time.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay? So it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent. But I'd rather have this law than not. So it's kind of like his reporter story. Yeah, there's things I wish I could change, but I'd rather have this law than not.
So, first of all, you haven't publicly commented on this so far. Do you stand by the comments in that video?
The comment in the video were made at an academic conference. I was speaking off the cuff. And
another Massachusetts hero, John Kerry, or more likely staff, came up with a great substitute idea. They said, look, what you economics nerds want to do is you want to say that for people with expensive health insurance plans, they will no longer get a 40% tax break. What if we instead just levied a 40% tax on the insurance companies that sell these terrible expensive Cadillac plans? We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing, but why does it matter? Because you'll see. And they were both in that pass. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference. So basically...
Oh, wow, so funny.
I was speaking off the cuff. And
until the second Massachusetts hero arose, John Kerry. And John Kerry said, no, we're going to tax your health insurance. We're going to tax those evil insurance companies. We're going to impose a tax that if they sell health insurance that's too expensive, we're going to tax them. And conveniently, the tax rate will happen to be the marginal tax rate under the income tax code. So basically, it's the same thing. We just tax the insurance companies. They pass it on higher prices. That offsets the tax break we get. It ends up being the same thing. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter. Okay.
Conference, I was speaking off the cuff.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. All the reasons why you shouldn't trust this president on immigration, why you shouldn't trust this president for anything. To close the garage door when he leaves. Don't trust him to pick up his toys. I don't know. What do people trust people to do? Trust him to leave water for your dog over the weekend, or... Oh, actually, that would be leave water for your cat. You'd have to walk your dog. And anyway, I digress. But yeah, that's my point. I don't trust this president as far as I can throw him. He's lied to me directly. My premiums are double because of it. And it wasn't just a mistake, and it wasn't just a misunderstanding of it. This clown Gruber is laughing about the stupidity of the American voter and how they had to trick us into voting for it. I never supported it. I knew it was a scam. It was a Trojan horse toward the single payer to get rid of all insurance. Just wait. This thing is going to get so much worse before it gets better. And it's going to get better if you delete it, if the Supreme Court eliminates it. Like they should have done the first time. But I digress. Do you really want these people in charge of your internet? Do you really want these people in charge of your border? Man, I don't believe them at all. So join the conversation. Leave your comments below. Like I said, I am open to having any rational, quasi-civil conversation. And we say here at the New American Media, seeking truth, challenging dogma, and having fun. Join our mostly civil conversation. And I mean it. We have conversations with lots of people, whether it's on Facebook, on Twitter, on the radio. You don't have to agree with us on everything. But, come with some facts. Come with some facts. And we want this to be a place where we can talk. And there are people that are going to disagree and say, oh, yeah. But, the main question, do you agree or disagree with what the president had to say today? Do you agree or disagree that he even has the authority to do it? He's on record 25 times saying, as a constitutional scholar, he knows that he can't do what he just did. What lie are you supposed to believe? If you like your plan, you can keep it, or, they're doing this intentionally, deceptively to prey upon the stupidity and the economic naivete of the average American voter. Yeah, I think it's what Jonathan Gruber said. I don't trust this guy at all. Leave your comments. Go to thenewamericanmedia.com. Check it out. On the right, you can click on Facebook and Twitter. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. That's American_media_. And on Facebook, do a search for The New American Media. And on YouTube, youtube.com/The New American Media. Subscribe to the page. Check out our 3.5 years of archived content. And we'll go from there. Special thanks to Zach Barris tonight for joining us on our sports show, The Unhappy Hour, talking about the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yep, that's where I was born and raised. And, we talked about Adrian Peterson. We talked about Buffalo Bills and the snow and, some of the other sports stories as well. But definitely kind of centered, talked more NBA than just Cleveland. But, let's face it, it's called the Unhappy Hour for a reason. We haven't celebrated a championship in Cleveland since 1964. Cleveland Browns won the title, and it wasn't even called a Super Bowl back then. It was that old. Cavs have never won one. Indians haven't won since 1948. This major city has had quite the sports drought, but with LeBron James back and Johnny Manziel waiting on the sidelines, and the Browns are competitive again, and Corey Kluber won the Cy Young for the Cleveland Indians last year. There's a lot of promise in Cleveland right now. So, we do that show. We cover spirituality, ancient alien stuff, finance and economics. We pretty much get into everything. Period. What are you, stupid? Yes, we get into everything. But yeah, those are all on the New American Media and the YouTube page. So just scroll around, check it out. And I'll tell one more thing. I think that we put together some of the best, most entertaining, enlightening, and inducing Facebook pages out there. If you're already on the page and you already like us, invite all of your cool friends, whether they're, big sports fans or whether they're political junkies and you think that they're going to get something of value out of where we're coming from. Please, man, spend some time. Gotta do it. You gotta spend some time on there. You gotta spend some time on our Facebook page and scroll backward and scroll backward and scroll backward and scroll backward. I think we put up some really great stuff, and it's archived there. At least it should. Who knows what games Facebook's playing these days? But check it out. There's a lot of good archived content over there. So for everybody here at the TNAM Radio Network, I appreciate you, and I love you. Good night.
Your guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.